What is up, YouTube? I'm Devon DaVinci, leader of the Renaissance crew, and you're watching DaVinci REACTS. Now, this is a video that I've had on my watch later list for months and months and months, and I've always gone over it. I haven't really paid attention to it because honestly I kind of forgot that it was even on my list. But recently, Terry, the history teacher, did a reaction to a video that was either similar to this or was this. It looked very similar, so I'm assuming that it was the same thing. So because I saw, or not saw, but I stumbled across that video, it let me know, excuse me. It let me know that, it reminded me that this video was on my list. So I figured, okay, let me do a reaction to this. And I wanted to give my impressions because this is something that you don't really see every day. The fact that these people could get together, because this isn't a matter of like two people that play sports on competing teams, you know, all their lives getting together and, you know, having a chat or whatever else. This is someone that was on the opposite end of the battlefield and actually made it their mission to not just beat you in some way, but to kill you. Like, imagine meeting someone whose sole purpose was killing you. Not just you, but all of your friends and people that you are with. But at the same time, your job was to kill them. So you were trained for a long time to see this person as the enemy, and you know, your whole thing was you had to take them out. Otherwise, they take you out. And the truth is, they likely would have. If they had the opportunity, they would likely take you out also. So imagine the feelings and emotions that you would have meeting, like 50 years later, meeting this person face to face in this new neutral world where both the forces that you represented are no longer competing against each other. Or I don't want to say competing because it makes it sound like it's a sport or something, but when you were no longer combatants going against each other, but you know, sitting down having a normal conversation after all the stuff that you were taught in the past about this person. Now you're sitting down having a normal conversation, and you can just see just how familiar you might have with someone, or the ability to just be able to like have a regular conversation and get to know like what you have in common and things like that. Also, it gets you a perspective of what their motivations were. Like, you know why you went to battle, but you don't know what their motivations might have been. Because I'm willing to guarantee when you're a part of some type of military, they aren't going to teach you, oh, the guys you're going up against, they're just regular people just like you. They went into the military for their own reasons, and you know, they just want to get out of it alive just like you did. No, chances are they're going to try to force into your head that these people are some type of monsters or something like that. Like, you kind of have to do that if you're going to have these people out there killing each other. So it's an interesting take. I love watching videos like this because to me it gives me a little bit more hope for humanity. And you know, the idea that if these people can get past their differences and sit down and have a conversation and things like that, then why can't other people? Like, there's such small stuff nowadays, like just political beliefs that can create such deep divisions in the ground between groups of people. And it's like, these are people that literally were out to kill each other, but were able to sit down, have a conversation, and you know, try to figure out like the things they have in common and things like that. So I would hope to see more videos like this because it, like I said, it gives me hope for humanity, and it just, I hope, opens other people's eyes who might not see, who might think that their problems right now are so big with something like with other people, but you find out it's not that big, or at least it's not big enough that it can't be overcome.
This is the tale of two soldiers who have never met and who were supposed to kill each other 75 years ago on this beach. One fighting for Führer and fatherland, Paul Goltz, aged 18 on D-Day. The other fighting for king and country, Harry Reid, barely a year older. You might know him by now. Harry Reid, 95 years old. Age didn't prevent him from jumping out of a plane yesterday, as he did 75 years ago in the first hours of the invasion. He spent most of his life working for the Salvation Army. Forgiveness was virtually written into his contract, and yet when we spoke to him recently about meeting Paul, the German soldier, he was cautious.
I'm not sure what I'm going to say to him. I'm going to have to think about it. But I do know this, I will accept him. I will accept him. How can I be at odds with somebody? I can't, can I? I can't. It's just not on. And whatever words are needing, they will come. They will come.
And then Paul Goltz, 94. He spent yesterday at the German War Cemetery in Normandy.
Yeah, like, just think about that. The person that you're about to talk to is on the side that was responsible for killing a lot of your friends and battalion and things like that. And despite all that, you're still able to sit down and be like, I don't hold any hard feelings against you, and we can sit down and have a conversation. It's amazing, ain't it? Like, it's
94.
crazy.
He spent yesterday at the German War Cemetery in Normandy, a somber place of black stone crosses, the resting place of the vanquished. I spoke to him on the beach, close to where he surrendered his gun, his freedom, and his war to an American tank crew.
And the soldiers, 4 soldiers also came and looked in these fields, in these pastures, and saw us. Hey boys, come on, let's go. The war's over for you. So that's why they shouted.
What they said. They shouted, yeah.
The Schneider, he wanted to shoot with his pistol on
Your
this
fellow
gun.
soldier. He wanted to shoot them with his pistol. Yeah.
Yeah, with his pistol.
What did you
And
say
the
to
lieutenant said to him, throw the pistol away. You are crazy.
Yeah.
You can't do with a pistol a tank.
The war was indeed over for
He was about
Paul,
to shoot a tank with a
not
pistol.
for his family. His village in eastern Germany became part of Poland.
This man was having
His father,
some
a
Tom
farmer, was
Hanks
killed by Russian
levels of
soldiers.
desperation.
His sister raped. But
Go back.
his father, not for his family. The war was indeed over for Paul, not for his family. His village in eastern Germany became part of Poland. His father, a farmer, was killed by Russian soldiers. His sister raped. But defeat gave Paul, like much of Germany, a new lease of life. He became a prisoner of war in Scotland and America, learned English, and joined the diplomatic service. Was he afraid on D-Day?
Nein, mit 18 Jahren, es war eine neue Situation für mich.
Positiv oder negativ?
Jetzt beginnt es endlich, dass wir das hinter uns bringen. I saw these 1,000 ships, and I thought
You knew it was over.
that I should better make peace with America and England, and only keep the Russians away from Berlin, because my family was near in the east of Pomerania. At first, there came the Russian there.
You were much more afraid of the Russians than of the Americans and the
That's
British.
what I thought.
It was
Yeah, that's understandable. A lot of people had fear of the Russians because it's pretty much like taking one government that was this totalitarian, brutal regime and just like replacing it with the exact same thing. It's pretty much how it was. But even then, it's like there were Russians on that side that I'm only guarantee were not cool with the stuff that a lot of Russian soldiers were doing, especially in Eastern Europe and Eastern Germany and things like that. And I mean, just like him, like I know for a fact that he had soldiers that was with him that were some foul, dirty bastards, like some people that would do some apprehensible stuff, but this dude had a good head on his shoulders. And I'm willing to guarantee that those same people that were pieces of crap would look at him and be like, oh, he's a coward or something like that. But when you look back, the people that were like him are the ones that were right. Like they're on the right side of history. So you want to talk about legacies and stuff like that. He's going to be remembered, whereas you're going to be vilified. You know what I'm saying? Why did I say you know what I'm saying? I don't say that hardly ever. That was shocking. I hope that isn't going to become a thing.
Time for Paul and Harry to meet on neutral ground in the Café de la Digue in Kabul.
And I'm so glad to see you and to hope.
I'm gonna let this continue. I just want to say real quick. I hope they have a video similar to this that has a member of all of the forces. Like, I would love to see a video that has an American person that was with Britain, a person that was with France, a person that was with Germany, a person that was with Japan, Italy. Like, I would like to see all those, like one member of all those forces get together and, you know, have a conversation and just talk about like what it was like on their side, what you had to expect, you know, their feelings towards the war and the people that they were going up against. I would love to see a video if they had something like that. I doubt it exists, but if it does, let me know.
Café de la Digue in Kabul.
And I'm so glad to see you and to hold your hand and say, bless you, we are partners. Once we were on a different side, but we are partners together in the rebuilding of the world.
That's why I find very fine.
That's right.
Yes,
and,
that's right.
And I'm just so glad to see you.
We understand each other.
When you were here and you were fighting for survival, the idea that one day, 75 years later, let alone jumping out of a plane, you would be sitting here with a German former soldier who was on the other side having this conversation.
Not at that time, although my common sense told me that there were people very peacefully minded and their voices so often were silenced.
What would your advice be to young people? Dein Rat für junge Leute?
Für junge Leute, look at the cemeteries where the people died for us. Because we have the peace for 75 years old. Peace, keep the peace, get with you.
And you.
Now we are friends.
We are more than that. We are more than that. We are brothers.
Harry Reid and Paul Golds, brothers and friends. Well, I'm joined now by two more men who landed here in Normandy, Bill Gladden and Dickie Forrester. Thanks very much to both of you for coming on the programme. You saw the film that we just aired of the German veteran and the British veteran meeting. What did you think when you saw that, Bill?
Well, I was rather impressed. It's the first time I've seen a ex-German soldier and a British soldier meeting. I've never seen that before.
You've never met any German soldiers yourself?
No, none whatsoever.
What about you, Dickie?
Well, I always used to see one called Willie that used to go to Pegasus Bridge every year, and they sort of adopted him until he died. But he's been dead some time now, but the parents sort of talked to him like a mascot.
Right.
But I'll never let him inside.
She's the woman who owns the cafe, right?
No, Germans are not allowed inside the cafe.
We had her on the programme yesterday, yes.
If Germans go in, they have to go in the back.
She's quite a formidable grande dame, is that?
She's a wonderful lady. I gave her flowers yesterday, and she's a nice lady.
So, Bill, when you came over, you came by glider, and you were the first.
I don't know how to feel about that. Like, like I get that. I understand. Like, first of all, I know that it's wrong. You don't judge someone based on a specific group. That's never how it's done. At the same time, I don't know what she went through. Like, I don't know, like, what Germany had on her, or the impact it had on her family or something like that when they were going through the world wars. That being said, it's still wrong. All I'm saying is I'm not going to, judge too harshly because, well, first of all, it's not my place. I wasn't there. I don't know what she experienced, but at the same time, it's like, I would hope that at some point she's able to get around that and understand, like, okay, well, not all Germans are like that.
Glider to ever take a tank. Explain that to us. I mean, the idea of a glider coming into Normandy is just astonishing.
But it's just that I was in the Armoured Corps where we had the Valentines, and then I went with Hobart. I'm on the East Coast at Orphaness. I was one of his dispatch riders. And then they asked the volunteers for the Airborne Armoured Corps, so I went with them. And we were at Lark Hill where we did our training. And then we were taken to Turret Ruston in Dorset. And a fortnight before D-Day, we put barbed wire out to stop people getting in, stop us going out, because we weren't allowed out.
Because there was a big secret, wasn't it,
Yes,
using these gliders?
yes. And they had briefed us as well, you see.
And they used the gliders so that the Germans couldn't hear them in the middle of the night as they came across?
Yeah, we came in D-Day afternoon,
Right.
because 22nd Independent Parachute Battalion, they went in first to blow the poles out the field. There was all poles in the field. But little did they know, our glider was that big, we would have missed the poles.
Right.
But the horses, it would have taken the wings off.
And there was a tank on the glider?
Yeah, we had a tank and 6 motorbikes, 350 matches. I was on the bikes, actually.
And you were injured soon after you landed, right? Or?
Yeah, I landed on the 6th. I was wounded on the 18th.
Right.
And
what happened?
Well, we'd been out on because we did all the recce work for 6th Airborne Division, and we'd been out this particular day. I come back to the orchard at Ronville, and I was just about to grew up tipping out some water, and there was a bang, and I was on my back.
Right.
And I didn't know then, but I was told afterwards that a tiger had come into our orchard and blasted us. So I don't know whether it's his 88 or his machine gun that got me. But it took all the front of my ankle away. I just the Achilles on my foot.
Ooh. See, I was about to stop the video a little bit after the meeting with the two veterans, but this story kind of captivated me. So I was still listening, and then I looked, and I'm like, oh, there's only like a couple minutes left, so I might as well let it ride out. Yeah. Hopefully the video doesn't get, flagged and all other stuff, but yeah, this is interesting. Like, I would love to see more videos like this, especially considering nowadays when that generation is starting to die out. You aren't running into a lot of World War II veterans anymore, because that is, like, the people that were around during that time are well past the life expectancy for whatever country they're living in. So most of them are starting to go away. So if you have, or I don't say you have, but if we have any way where we can like talk to them and preserve their stories and, get the direct history from them, now is the time to do it, because you won't get this again. Once they're gone, all the stories is just gone, and the only thing that's going to be left to tell the story is the history books. And again, history can be very muddled depending on who writes it. Like, who's to say what's going to be remembered and what's going to be tossed aside and lost in the cracks of history. Yeah, we need to try to get as many of these people in as many of these people's story as we possibly can, and get as many people to hear the story as much as possible as well, because that way, if something does if some stuff does go down where somebody's trying to mark history a certain way, we have more than enough people that can be like, no, this is what happened. I was there when the person told the story, and they didn't say that, they said this, like, something.
Dickie, what do you remember most about those first few days of the invasion?
Well, first of all, I was frightened. And secondly, I was seasick. I was so
That's not a good combination, is it?
I thought I was dead. Oh, it's a terrible feeling, seasickness. So I never recovered for about 2 days. I felt very guilty about it.
And just describe that moment when you came off the boat and you had to rush onto the beach.
Well, I didn't have to do that because I was laying there in a shocking state.
Really?
And the sergeant pulled me out and left me there, and a medical orderly came on and done it. And he said to this captain, he said, this man's not too good, he might be dying. He said, you damn fool, he's got seasickness.
And, this has been such a poignant occasion for so many people. I mean, for you, obviously, who were here, but also for those who weren't here and try to imagine. What did today mean to you, perhaps compared to some of the other anniversaries you've been attending?
It's the same as every one I've ever done.
Really?
I'll tell you what, my old chairman, Arthur Middleton, God bless him, was Black Watch. And he said, when you go away with it, we used to go away, they'll come here every year for long. I've been coming here over 30 years. He said, you must wear your medals.
You've got a lot of them.
Well, that's window dressing. He said, you must wear your medals because the people who lie underneath you that you remember never had a chance to wear them, and they were entitled to. And also you can explain to the people, they're not all French, they come from Holland, they come from America. Explain why you're there. They see, oh, this man was here, or he was something to do with it. So they fit in together. And that's my opinion, and every time I come back, it's a joy.
What do you think people should remember most from this occasion? What do you want young people especially to take away from
Don't go to war, because it doesn't get you anywhere. It's just an absolute waste of time.
And victory is nice, but it's very, very dear. There are lots of youngsters laying out there in the cemetery. We are in the 90s and 20s, killed and maimed. We don't want that to happen again.
You lost friends, both of you, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, my dearest friends I've lost have died since the war, which I miss very much.
I've got two friends that lay in Ronville Cemetery. I've visited yesterday, and I normally try to find them. And I helped carry them over. They were both killed. 3 days later, they were carrying me over. So
Okay.
that was it.
Both of you, thank you very much indeed, Bill Glad and Dickie Forrester. Thank you so much for coming in. It's been really wonderful talking to you.
All right. Obviously, this video was uploaded by Channel 4 News. I will have a link for their channel at the end of this video. So the last 30 seconds, the icon will pop up right around there. You can click on it, it'll take you to their channel. So you can look at all the other coverage. Man, like, I would love to take a trip to Normandy and see, like, just to get a good visual of what it looks like, what it was like, because it's always interesting to look at something and be like, wow, this is the same thing that Blase Blah was looking at when they did this historic thing. So it's like you're looking at the beach and it's like, this is what the soldiers, or at least it's very similar to what the soldiers saw when they were getting off that those boats. And at the time, like, they knew that it was a significant event, but do you know how significant it is? Like, could you imagine thinking that what you're going to do now, 100 years from now, people are going to be looking back like, wow, this person was going through this at the time. I would imagine Normandy isn't like a regular beach anymore. I'm pretty sure you can't just go and like, oh, I'm gonna get in the water and have fun and, you know, build a sand castle. I'm pretty sure that's not something that's done on Normandy. I'm pretty sure the whole thing is like blocked off as like a historical monument or something. But just being there and imagine like all the people that died here. If it was a normal beach, you know, I'm pretty sure that has to be something that goes through your head at all times. Like, where I'm standing at right now, it's likely somebody got shot and killed and are just right underneath me right now. I was curious about something a long time ago about like what happens to the dead bodies during wars. And I don't know if I reacted to a video, but I did see a video that talked about it and about how there was like specific units for militaries that were in charge of going and retrieving the bodies and keeping count of how many people died and things like that. And I believe they had a little bit of like immunity from war. Like, it's like one of those situations where they're kind of like a civilian and is almost seen like a war crime for messing with them. Usually both sides tended to respect that person and would allow them to do their job. Now, I'm pretty sure there have been a lot of cases where that didn't happen, but I mean, that happens with every war. There's going to be war crimes no matter what. But like just the fact that, you know, like, I'm pretty sure they don't recover everybody. So it's like there's these bodies in the water out there somewhere. There's bodies that could be underneath your feet in the sand, buried deep down. And it's just, it seemed like a haunting thought, just the idea of, oh, like you're at the beach, but all this stuff is here. But again, like I said, all this is negated if the beach is like a historical monument and you're not allowed to just go and have fun. It would just be weird if that was the case. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and share. I look forward to seeing what you guys have to say about it. If you have any other recommendations for videos like this, leave it in the comment section down below. I do look forward to seeing if anybody has any suggestions on a video that is similar to what I suggested earlier, or what I asked about earlier with the multiple World War II veterans sitting down and having a conversation. I love watching videos like this because it does open your eyes to the fact that just how much people have in common with each other. And you might see a specific group of people or a specific set of people from a certain country, and you might judge them a certain way because of the history that you and that country had. But then when you get down to the nitty-gritty of it, you realize that this person is just like you. They're just trying to get through life. They don't want to hurt anybody. They just want to, you know, be as peaceful as possible. And usually, like, if there wasn't a language barrier between the two, you could even be friends. Like, y'all are into the same stuff. Like, as much as the United States has an issue with countries like North Korea and Iran and things like that, and like I know for a fact there are people that are in Iran or in North Korea that are into stuff like Dragon Ball Z. They're into sports. They're into anime. They're into video games. They're into the same stuff that I'm into. And if we sat down and we didn't know anything about each other's histories, or if you're able to strip away everything that tied us to our countries of origin, we would just be people just hanging out. There'd be nothing separating us. We'd have the same stuff. The only way we know there was even a difference is if, like, we asked each other, oh, what country are you from? And then, oh, you're from America. Oh, okay. Oh, you're from Iran. Oh, and like it's strange how, like, certain types of identifiers could separate us so much, despite the fact that we're not separate as people. Well, anyway, let me know what you all think. If you have any stories about meeting someone that is from other countries that your country might not have a good connection with, but you have a good connection with this specific person, let me know in the comment section. If you had like an eye-opening experience meeting somebody that you thought you would have an issue with, leave it in the comment section. I would love to hear what you guys have to say about it. With that being said, I'm Devon DaVinci. Hopefully you've just been a little more enlightened. I look forward to seeing what you guys have to say in the comment section. I'm going to give you the deuces, and I'm signing out. Deuces.